Scottie Pippen, welcome to The Daily Show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's a
Um,
pleasure to be on your show.
hey, it can't be a pleasure. Let me tell you what a pleasure is. A pleasure is me talking to one of my favorite basketball players of all time. I'm someone who didn't even know basketball, but all I knew was the number one player to play with on NBA Jam was Scottie Pippen. I had two favorite players in the NBA Jam game. It was Scottie Pippen and it was Muggsy Bogues. And if I wanted to win, I went with
Wow.
Scottie Pippen. If I wanted to play like the cheat codes, I'd play with Muggsy Bogues. So thank you for being on the show.
It's a
And thank you for
pleasure.
writing the book, man. It's been a really amazing journey getting to know who you are as a human being. I think let's start with the life side of Scottie Pippen. I think everyone starts with the basketball. But what I really found interesting about you was starting with the life that you lived. You had to really get over so many hurdles in life. You know, you come from a big family. You come from a family that went through a lot of struggles. You know, you talk about your brother and him being paralyzed at a young age. You talk about your dad suffering a similar fate, but from a very different standpoint. When you look at that journey that Scottie Pippen had, you know, you had to make decisions in life and you had to become a really resilient person. What do you think it was that gave you the fortitude to get through the things that you got through to get to where you got to?
I would say it was my parents, just kind of seeing the life that they had taken on. And, it wasn't something that they were prepared for. And by any means could we afford to have, two disabled people living in one household. But we were able to pull through it, through the struggles and the ups and downs. And, we made the best of what we had.
I found myself wondering the whole time reading the book, did young Scottie Pippen know that he was going to be one of the greatest every time he touched the ball? Or was young Scottie Pippen just trying to get from one play to the next, one moment to the next?
I think I was taking it day by day, step by step. Like any kid, I was dreaming and wanting one day to play in the NBA. But, along that journey, you got to reach certain other steps, like playing college basketball and
Right,
getting
right.
my education, things of that nature. So those things were important to me along the way. But ultimately, I didn't know what type of basketball player I would be, if I would be one of the 50 greatest, if I just, maybe get a trial for an NBA team. You just hope for the best and you work as hard as you can to make sure that you're prepared for it. It's a long journey, and I feel like that I prepared myself for it.
I feel like you've lived a life as one of the greatest basketball players, and now you've become an author of one of the greatest books that delves into the minds and the inner workings of one of the greatest teams and sports legacies of all time. Let's start with the beginning. I mean, that's where the book starts. The prologue, if we jump right to the beginning. In the prologue, you talk about The Last Dance. You know, the documentary that everyone was watching during the pandemic, the story that everybody was talking about. And you talk about how, you wanted to speak your truth. You wanted to get your story out there. When you were writing the book, was this your way of feeling like you could answer some of the questions that people asked from the documentary and maybe didn't show your side of the story?
Well, I think I kind of, you know, took myself away from being in the public eye during the documentary.
Right.
I don't know if people even recall, but I was working for ESPN when the documentary came out, and took a little hiatus because I didn't want to have to relive telling the story about what happened, 20 years ago. So that was one thing, but I did feel like that the documentary was not really about the last dance, because I felt like that it was a lot of footage that was taken that was going to be really praising one of the greatest teams that had really ever been put together in the NBA, and really praise a lot of the people that was a part of that great team. And I felt like that the documentaries was solely built and controlled, through Michael Jordan. And I didn't feel like it really gave justice to a lot of the great players, coach, just that were a part of that journey. It was truly something that I felt like needed to be expressed from a team standpoint.
You know, Michael Jordan is undoubtedly one of the greatest to ever do it, but clearly, as a person, it must be challenging to play with somebody like that who, has a certain frame of mind for what they're doing. When you were playing with him as a teammate, did you have to, situate yourself according to him, or how did you manage Michael's ego whilst also playing in a team with Michael?
Well, it was an adjustment. When I came into the NBA and to the Chicago Bulls organization, Michael had been with the organization for 3 seasons, 3 losing seasons. So it was an adjustment for him to change his style of play and how he played the game. And it was, I guess, up to me to sort of pick up areas where I felt like that I could be a good fit for the team to, get us in a position where we could be successful, but also opening up as a player where I could show my talent and my greatness on the court as well.
Every page I turned to, I could see why this became a New York Times bestseller, because it's Scottie Pippen telling us, his truth. It's one of the greatest NBA players delving into, the inner workings of one of the greatest periods in basketball. And there's a part that really stuck with me. It's when you wrote your own tombstone, which is really funny. I mean, it seems morbid, but it's really funny, where you write, I'm almost convinced that literally to my grave, this will be my tombstone. Scottie Maurice Pippen, beloved husband and father, 1965-2, and then it's 7-time NBA All-Star, 6-time NBA champion, and below that it says, sat out the final 1.8 seconds of a playoff game between the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks. And I was interested in that, like, obviously that's something that people have talked about, but I wonder why you think that would be something that would always follow your legacy. Why do you think that moment was so big? Not just for you, but for how people saw it from the outside?
Well, I think for what people saw from the outside, they had never saw a player really stand up for himself against a coach in that type of situation. And I think I was that player to sort of break that ice. And it was a moment in time for me, because I had been challenged my whole life. And I had been playing under the wings of Michael Jordan for, I guess at that time, 6 years, 3 championships. So I felt like it was time for me to break out and to let them know that, hey, I came here to be a star player. I didn't come here to be a second fiddler to anyone. And I think I needed to make that stance. And just so happened it was in a game that I felt like, it was that moment where I needed to speak out.
Well, you know what? There's a reason you're a Hall of Famer. There's a reason you have your 6 rings. There's a reason you're a New York Times bestseller. And in my heart, because of NBA Jam, there's a reason you're still the best video game character of all time. That move, I used to do that move with you the whole time. just to get the guy off the ball. Scottie could rebound better than anyone in that game. Have you ever played yourself in that game, by the way?
No, I kind of missed
man,
my
Scottie,
time
you're missing out.
You're
missing out in life, Scottie.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something now, man. That you did this thing with. I didn't even know what basketball was. I just played video games, and then there was this move you would get. You would rebound, right? You jump up. Scottie could get it before everybody, and then as soon as I'd land, I'd do this. I just do this, and then everyone would like fall around me, and then I'd go to the other side, and then I'd dunk. I was like, I don't know who Scottie Pippen is. I literally knew you as a video game character. Like in my world, it was like Ken and Ryu from Street Fighter and Scottie Pippen from NBA Jam. And then someone was like, this is a real person in a real country. I was like, that's ridiculous. No one can jump that high and then fight people like this. But here he is. So thank you again, Scottie. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Trevor, for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, don't forget, people, Scottie's memoir, Unguarded, is available right now.